Hiya! So, for the last month or so, I've been running a Berserker commando, and I think I've got it pretty good. Probably as good as it can get, a couple of tweaks here and there. Berserker may or may not be being buffed in Wastelanders, but just whether or not it is, I think that with this experiment, I've been able to come to the conclusion it's a great build. I'd say it's probably on par with my junkies commando, but it has some extra aspects which just make it that much better. So don't worry about all of the perk cards running in the background there. Let's rewind. Okay, let's take a look at my perk cards. So strength, not a lot in there for a commando build, just the stuff that you need, and ideally you don't even want traveling pharmacy. It's really in your perception that you need your full commando stack. Could put in concentrated fire, but really you want your full commando. Adamantium skeleton is absolutely necessary. Fireproof not so much, but rejuvenated is. You might want to swap out with life giver if you really want a lot more health. For me, I'm actually looking much more at just getting a lot of damage, and my weapons are explosive, so I've got fireproof. Charisma, nothing important there for you to worry about at all. Intelligence, 5 demolition expert if you're running explosives, which you want to do. And then in agility, all the sneak with adrenaline, apart from light-footed, which is a shame. I'd like to run it, and maybe I will when I can get something out of charisma. Bloodied mess in luck, and that's about it. Now, that's a pretty clean build, right? My mutations are slim to none, only the essentials. The essentials really are chameleon. It's incredible, as you'll see in a minute, like I'm running weightless armor that's all broken, and it makes the difference in sneak that puts it above junkies, in my opinion, quite far above it, in fact. Not only from damage, but really just the fact that you're always invisible. So here's the armor. They're just weightless pieces. It doesn't even matter what level they are, right? They just need to be sneaky. I've got endurance and perception on them, and those persist when they're broken. I spent about 800 stim packs destroying those, so, there you go. So let's take a look at the weapon output here. So this is before taking Sucker Buff and Ballistic Bark. Those are the two that you'll need. And then after, a little bit of Sucker Buff. And look at that. You're looking at, just on the Pip-Boy, something like 1500 DPS. So it's incredible, really. So I really need to show you the sneak. So the next couple of clips are actually doing encrypted and doing the queen. But that's all you need to know. If you want to see how sneak works in action, look at the next clips. So I loaded into someone else's encrypted tier. They didn't have a lot of time left on the clock, as a matter of fact. But I was like, well, I need to do this video. So I jumped in here. All I'll be doing in this is actually staying crouched, using Ballistic Bark, and a hell of a lot of stim packs. But that's encrypted for you, right? That's what you do. So, as you can see, I don't have any damage resistance, but I've got pretty good health, so I can tank those conduits. I've done this by myself and taken all 3 conduits, not really that much of a problem. Super stim packs are great. But the critical thing to notice is, I'm always in caution. And if you guys have done encrypted much, you'll know that the sheep squatch, she just sees you. No matter how sneaky you are, even if you're bloodied, sneak, and unyielding, and your agility is through the roof, she sees you. But somehow on this tune, she doesn't. So, as you can see, whilst I'm really stimming myself all over the place, I'm totally fine. I think I leave a little bit here just for you to see the damage output on the sheep squatch next. But again, this was really impressive to me when I did the build and actually amped it, because being able to run this and not die, that's something. Well, I say not die. I think I die, well, almost now. But that's pretty good DPS on her, and I go down. Boom. Okay. So, in this clip, there's not that many people here. It's myself, my friend Danny, a couple of other people in the server. And I think what I'm going to show you is just the fact that in one of the, it's the boss fight, right? I am almost completely invisible all the time. I'm doing my maximum per shot is 150 on her face. So with this weapon, which I think's got a fire rate of 14, that's like nearly 2,000 damage per second. And I think that coupled with the fact that, oh yeah, gotta have a little bit of Berserker cannibal eating. The fact is that Chameleon kicks in when you stand up, or when you're stationary, basically. And so when you're running that full sneak build, and you get into danger and you move out of caution, just stand up, and then the minute you stand up and the animation kicks in, crouch again, and then the minute you're crouched, as you'll see constantly throughout this video, you just go directly back to caution. And ultimately that's what sets it apart, right? Like, you never worry about armor. You just get the armor you need and you're done. You need good weapons, and ideally explosive with fireproof, because that's really going to push your DPS over the edge. But there's not a lot more to worry about. Like, Psycho Buff's super cheap to make, and so is Ballistic Bulk. Like, it's so easy. The only other thing that you can do, and I haven't shown in this video, to really take a Berserker over the edge, is the food build. So the thing with this character is, or this class basically, is that hit points, right? So food stacks with the hit points. So for example, Scorch Beast Hearts give you 500. The Mylark cake with Bloodleaf Aioli, that gives you like 600 or 700. Now those all stack together, and there's plenty of them. Like, just take a look, there's so many HP foods. And what they do is that they actually release those HP at a refresh rate to the tune. So it's not like suddenly you've got 10,000 hit points, it's just that your hit points are always super high. Which means that when you're hitting that stim pack, you're hitting your stim pack to double, maybe 2.5 times the hit points that other characters have if you're running a food build. So, I mean, I guess what? A recap. You have incredible damage per second, your armor never needs repairing when you run at sneak, and I suggest that you do if you want to do this, because otherwise you are a glass cannon. You're effectively invisible because of Chameleon, and you just stand up, crouch back, and go in caution. It's a cheap build to run, and I've got to tell you, I had so much fun with it. And I continue to have fun with it. I mean, I hope that they give this a buff in Wastelanders, but you know what? It doesn't matter if they do or don't. It's a great build, and I'm surprised that it took me this long to learn to stop worrying and love the Berserker class. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you run Berserker, like, I've been trying to speak to people, there just aren't that many folks that I've found who run it. I'd love to hear how you do it, and any tips that you might have. Otherwise, see you later.